Yeah. Yes. So.
Good morning, honorable members. Welcome to Lamset Energy.
Voice.
Good morning, honorable members. Welcome to Lamset Energy. Lamset Energy is a subsidiary of Lamset Capital. With me here, I have our managing director. I'll hand you over to him, Mr. Tsarupo. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lamset Capital. Today we are here showcasing one of the projects which Lamset Capital is carrying out in Masvingo province, which is the regional hub for sugarcane production in Zimbabwe. Our government, the government of Zimbabwe, led by His Excellency, President Mnangagwa, has invested a lot in water, and they've just opened 120,000 hectares of land which is earmarked for sugarcane production. To augment that, the responsible ministries allocated blocks where solar power producers can produce solar. So we are one of the players in the area. We are targeting to implement 50 megawatts of solar power. We have sent in our application to the ministry. We are also in the process of finalizing what we call financial closure. Once we generate this electricity, it's all going to support players in the agriculture sector who are sugarcane producers. Sugarcane is one of the key crops which helps us with forex. It also helps meet local demand of sugar in the country.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can we have a
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all for time. What are we doing?
I think our
we've done Fairview, and we've done almost 1,000 houses as well. So we're actually in the process of doing Masvingo and reviewing Masvingo and Tekuchu. Sorry, yeah. So
yeah. So above that as well, we have also just distributed, or we have had the privilege of
our dignitaries are coming back from the exhibition. I would like to invite Honorable Minister Moyo, Minister for Provincial Affairs, to take his seat on the podium and also invite the Commissioner for the for Energy and Infrastructure from the African Union to also come and take a place. Let's send and allow our honorable ministers and dignitaries to come in. Let's be seated. Thank you. Given that we are running a bit behind time, I've already done the full protocol for this event. I'll ride on the protocol which I had already established, and I'd like to welcome all of you back. Actually, when the initial welcome was done, there were a few empty seats, and I see almost all the seats are full now. I would like to take this opportunity to call on our Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabeleland North Province to come and do the welcome remarks. Honorable Minister, you can come through. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency, the President of Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, Her Excellency, the First Lady of Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, Honorable Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable July Moyo, let me say all protocol observed. It is my singular honor and privilege to warmly welcome you all to Matabeleland North Province, and in particular to magnificent city of Victoria Falls. We are greatly honored that Zimbabwe has been entrusted with hosting the 8th meeting of the International Solar Alliance Regional Committee for Africa. We extend our sincere appreciation to the International Solar Alliance and its member states for choosing Zimbabwe and Victoria Falls in particular as the destination for the important gathering. Your presence here is a great honor for our province and a reflection of the growing importance of Victoria Falls as a destination for high-level international engagement. Distinguished guests, we are especially honored by the presence of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, whose presence at this important gathering demonstrates the importance that Zimbabwe attaches to Africa's energy transition and to the work of the International Solar Alliance. On behalf of the people of Matabeleland North, I wish to sincerely thank His Excellency for joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa possesses some of the world's greatest solar resources, yet a significant proportion of our people still lack access to reliable electricity. At the same time, our continent is seeking to accelerate economic growth, create employment, strengthen food security, and build resilience to climate change. The The task before us is therefore not simple to recognize Africa's solar potential, but to translate that potential into investment, infrastructure development, jobs, and improved livelihood for our people. For Matabeleland North Province, this ambition is firmly aligned with our National Development Strategy 2, which places inclusive growth and sustainable development at the center of our national development agenda. The development of renewable energy, therefore, provides an important pathway through which we can translate this national priority into practical benefits for our communities. Our productive sectors and our economy in this very province, this conservation has a very direct meaning. Our province brings together agriculture, mining, tourism, conservation, industry, and communities, all of which require reliable and sustainable energy. Solar energy supports irrigation and agriculture production, strengthens rural development, and provides energy solution in areas where infrastructure may be difficult or costly to extend. This is particularly important as we look at the future of our tourism and conservation sectors. Matabeleland North is home to Victoria Falls, one of the world's great cultural wonders, natural wonders, as well as Hwange National Park, one of the Zimbabwe's most important wildlife and conservation destinations. Our cultural heritage is one of our greatest economic assets, and renewable energy can help us grow these sectors while ensuring that the development we pursue remains sustainable. Distinguished guests, Matabeleland North is a province of significant economic and investment potential beyond tourism. We have significant opportunities in mining, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. Our natural resources, strategic location, and existing economic base provides a strong foundation for investment and partnerships that contribute to Zimbabwe's broader development. We are particularly interested in investment that creates value within the province, develop local skills, supports communities, and creates meaningful opportunities for our young people. It is my hope, therefore, that during your stay, you will experience more than the conference venue. I invite you to experience Victoria Falls, to discover Hwange, to engage with our people, and to see for yourself the opportunities that Matabeleland North presents. We hope that this gathering will open doors beyond the conference itself, doors to new investment, new partnerships, new projects, and new possibilities for our province and our continent. Distinguished guests, as we deliberate over the coming days, let us remember that the true measure of this meeting will not only be quality of the discussion we have here, but what follows after we leave this room. Let us build partnerships that endure beyond Victoria Falls. Let us mobilize investment that creates jobs and strengthens our economies. Once again, on behalf of the people of Matabeleland North, I extend our warmest welcome to all of you distinguished guests. I thank you. Tiaboka Twalumba.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Given that we have a lot of speakers, I would like to take this opportunity to call upon my next speaker, who is going to receive the host country address by the Honorable Minister July Moyo. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, your Director of Ceremonies. My 2 minutes is over, so I want to thank you for coming to Zimbabwe. And I want to thank you most heartily for attending this conference, which I hope we will be able to listen first to our President, who will officially welcome you to Zimbabwe and give you what we are doing here in Zimbabwe. So my job is very simple, to thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I like that 1 minute. You have allowed me to gain a bit of time, so without wasting further time, I would like to call my sister to do her special address, Her Excellency Miss Lerato Dorothy Matabohe. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I will take the remaining minute from the Honorable Minister, if you allow me, because we speak on behalf of the continent, so I hope you'll indulge us. But let me stand on existing protocol and acknowledge our host, Honorable Minister Moyo, and also the Director General of the International Solar Alliance, and Madam Minister, who is the chairperson, and say it is an honor to join you today in the scenic Victoria Falls for the 8th meeting of the International Solar Alliance Regional Committee for the Africa region. On behalf of the African Union Commission, I would like to thank His Excellency President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa and the government and the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe for their warm hospitality and for bringing us together around one of the most consequential questions for Africa's future. That question is, how do we turn our extraordinary solar endowment into reliable power, productive capacity, and shared prosperity? I also commend the International Solar Alliance for the role it continues to play in mobilizing cooperation, finance, technology, and knowledge around solar energy. The value of this alliance will ultimately be measured by the speed with which the partnerships that we have established and that they have established translate into electricity for households, farms, schools, hospitals, mines, factories, and businesses. For the African Union Commission, energy is not simply one development sector among many. Energy is the infrastructure that makes development possible. Our Agenda 2063 cannot be realized without affordable energy, without reliable and sustainable power. We cannot industrialize without energy, we cannot beneficiate our minerals without energy, and we cannot build competitive manufacturing, modern agriculture, digital economies, or resilient cities without energy. Electricity access, therefore, is not the end of our ambition. It is the beginning of economic transformation. Solar energy is indispensable in that ambition. The economics are moving in our favor as an African continent. Solar photovoltaic technology has become one of the most competitive sources of new electricity generation, and deployment across Africa is accelerating rapidly. Zimbabwe, our host, gives us practical examples of what a shift towards solar can look like. The Zimbabwe government's national renewable energy policy has set a target of 2,100 megawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030, including 1,575 megawatts of solar. By May 2025, Zimbabwe's Ministry of Energy and Power Development reported more than 145 megawatts from renewable sources that had been connected to the grid, while a growing portfolio of solar projects is serving both grid and productive users. The rollout is visible across different parts of the economy. The 17.5 megawatt solar plant at Blanket Mine in Gwanda was completed and commissioned with battery storage for the mine's ownership and consumption. The ministry also reported 50 megawatts of solar at Manize and 35 megawatts at Zimplats for own consumption. These important examples show solar moving beyond household lighting and becoming productive infrastructure for industry. Zimbabwe is also demonstrating the importance of decentralized solar for communities that cannot wait for conventional grid expansion. Through the Rural Electricity Fund, solar mini-grids are being used to power schools, clinics, and other public institutions in areas far from the grid. This is what an inclusive energy transition should look like. National scale ambition combined with practical solutions to reach people where they live. Excellencies, these examples point to a larger continental lesson. Africa does not need one solar model. We need utility-scale solar connected to stronger national and regional grids. We need distributed generation for industry and commerce. We need mini-grids and standalone systems for communities beyond the reach of the grid. We need storage, we need transmission, and we need electricity markets capable of moving power from where it is abundant to where it is needed. This is where the African Union is advancing our single electricity market and the Continental Power System Master Plan. Our aim is to move progressively from fragmented national systems towards an integrated continental electricity market. Solar generation will deliver far greater value when it's supported by interconnected grids, storage, flexible power systems, and regional trade. Our greatest constraint remains finance, and particularly the cost of capital. Too many technically sound African energy projects have become financially unviable because financing is too expensive and because projects never reach bankability. Public and concessional finance must therefore be used more strategically to reduce risk, to crowd in capital. We must deepen African capital markets and mobilize pension and institutional capital, strengthen project preparation and aggregation, and continue the conversation with international financial institutions on how risk is assessed and priced in African markets. In the interest of time, Madam, I will also end by saying our energy transition must also be an industrialization strategy, and we must ensure that we produce what we need for solar scalability on the African continent. Excuse me. Excellencies, the sun already shines on Africa. Our responsibility, therefore, is to ensure that this power also drives Africa's prosperity. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to, given that we are running behind time, we had originally put in 2 minutes per speaker. So, but my speakers are very important people. So I would like to continue to urge them to look at the time. And now I call upon our Director General for the International Solar Alliance to come and give his address. Director General, you have the floor.
Can you hear me? Yeah, sorry. I will stick to 2 minutes, even though I lost 20 seconds. Thank you, Honorable Richard Moyo, MP Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Matabeleland North Province. My friend, Honorable July Moyo, MP Minister of Energy and Power Development, Republic of Zimbabwe. Her Excellency, Mrs. Lerato Dorothy Matabeje, Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, African Union Commissioner, for your opening remarks. And it's my pleasure to welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Mari-May Jeremy, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Environment, Climate, Energy, Natural Resources, the Chair and Vice President for the ISA Assembly for Africa region. Ministers, delegates, I have only 2 messages. The first message is that I think we believe Africa is ready to move from megawatts to gigawatts of solar. Why do I say that? One, for the first time, working very closely for last 15 years in Africa, I find a political will and a momentum which says that energy as an essential artery for access, reliable and affordable energy is central to Africa's growth. Second, We now have all donors and all governments come together on a common shared platform of Mission 300, which is led by government's own national compacts. This unification was not available earlier. Third, the technology of solar and storage continues to come down while the world is spending $1 trillion more because of oil crisis of West Asia. All of this confirms that Africa is ready. In terms of ISA, as a multilateral agency of Global South with 129 countries, we are committed on our vision of moving from ambition to action. You will see that we will be, over the next 1.5 days, today releasing 3 big initiatives. One is a continental clean energy plan for solarizing Africa, which is not a report, but an implementation pathways for Africa. We will be signing an Africa Solar Facility that will operationalize a $200 million fund for young private entrepreneurs to invest in decentralized renewable energy in Africa. And we will be creating a program with 7 countries to begin with on solarization of agriculture that can enable 1 million solar pumps in Africa. We will be also talking about capacity building, energy storage, electric mobility, the progress on country partnership frameworks, and the role of digitization and new technologies along with harmonization of standards. So we are very excited. I will just want to thank the government and the people of Republic of Zimbabwe for their warmth and hospitality in welcoming us in Victoria Falls. And I thank all the member countries and partners for their continued guidance cooperation. I look forward to constructive deliberation. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Since I'm slightly vertically challenged, I'll bring down the microphone. Thank you so much, DG, for giving us the full view of what we will be covering over the next 2 days. And without further ado, I would like to call upon the Vice President of the African region to come through. Honorable Minister, Mrs. Mary May Jeremy, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. I will be brief. Good morning, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, partners, all protocols observed. I'd like to begin by, of course, thanking Honorable Moyo, Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Richard Moyo, Minister for State of Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Ms. Lerato Dorothy Mataboge, the Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy at the African Union, and Mr. Ashish Khanna, the Director General for ISA, for your opening remarks and for nicely setting the scene for us to begin this morning. Distinguished delegates, it is my privilege to welcome you to the 8th meeting of the International Solar Regional Committee for the African region in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Africa's energy transition is gaining momentum, yet deployment remains far below its immense potential. Solar energy can expand electricity access, support agriculture, strengthen health and education services, power enterprises, and build resilient communities. For us in Seychelles, solar energy, storage, and stronger grids are essential to improving energy security and reducing our dependence on imported fuels and addressing climate vulnerabilities. We therefore welcome the proposed country partnership frameworks with ISA to advance rooftop and distributed solar, grid integration, capacity building, project preparation, and affordable finances. Therefore, we are of the strong view that this regional community meeting must help to translate Africa's abundant sunlight into investable projects and measurable development outcomes. Through stronger partnerships, credible pipelines, and innovative finance, we can move from ambition to implementation. I look forward to your engagements during today and tomorrow, and I look forward to the outcomes that will come from this meeting. With these words, I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I think your message is very clear. We are moving from discussions to implementation. I would like to take this opportunity to call upon our last speaker for this session, who is going to give the address on behalf of the presidency of the ISA Assembly. I would like to call Your Excellency, the Ambassador Brahma Kumar, Ambassador of the Republic of India to Zimbabwe. You have the floor.
Thank you, Edith. Good morning. Acknowledging the presence of honorable ministers, ambassadors representing member states of International Solar Alliance, ISA Secretariat and its very dynamic DG, Mr. Khanna. Good morning to all of you. Riding on already established protocol, I'm trying to utilize the time given by event director to me. So at the outset, I convey our sincere appreciation to the government and people of Zimbabwe for graciously hosting this important meeting and for the warmth and hospitality extended to all delegates who are coming from India and all over the world. So thank you very much on that. India's engagement with the world has long been guided by the belief that knowledge acquires its greatest value when shared for the common good. From yoga and Ayurveda to cuisine and cinema, from foundational contributions to mathematics to affordable vaccines, India has sought to place its experience at the service of humanity. The International Solar Alliance, co-founded by India and France, carries that spirit forward through climate action, energy access, and partnership with the Global South. India's own energy transition demonstrates that sustained ambition can achieve. And in a little over a decade, India's installed solar capacity has risen from less than 3 gigawatts to more than 164 gigawatts, while its non-fossil capacity has crossed 300 gigawatts. India also became the first G20 country to achieve 2 of the 3 quantitative commitments under its original nationally determined contribution 9 years ahead of schedule. Excellencies, honorable ministers, for India, Africa is an equal and indispensable partner. During India's G20 presidency, the African Union became a permanent member of the G20, strengthening Africa's rightful voice in global decision making. We, the ISA, are honored by the presence of Commissioner Matabuke and sincerely hope that the African Union ISA partnership can be formally taken forward at the 9th ISA Assembly later this year. Across Africa, solar energy must ultimately illuminate homes, strengthen schools and health centers, power farms and enterprises, and create dignified livelihoods. India offers its experience in a spirit of partnership as a resource for co-creating solutions shaped by Africa's priorities and a diverse national context. We hope that ISA's Solarizing Africa initiative will emerge as a continental platform that convenes partners, mobilizes finance, and translates ambition into implementation at scale. On India-Zimbabwe bilateral front, I am pleased to state that Indian industries are growing and enhancing their investments in Zimbabwe and expanding their operations. Like today, we have seen one of Indian prominent investors. They are into FMCG, but now they are moving into solar energy. So thank you, Varun Beverages, for that. And I also take this opportunity to warmly invite all of you to the Bharat Renewable Energy Expo and Summit and the 9th session of the ISA Assembly from 2nd to 5th November 2026 at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. We look forward to carrying the spirit of Victoria Falls forward into decisive collective action in New Delhi. So, Dhanyavad, thank you, Tatenda, thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Tatenda. We have come to the end of the first part of the official opening. We will then transition to the plenary, whilst we are waiting for State House to come in, we will ask the Director General and all the dignitaries who are on the podium to remain there so that if there's any transition, it will be easy for us to move on to the address by His Excellency. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all, especially our speakers this morning, for reminding us that we do have the resource. The sun has always been with us. We have to remain focused in moving from just looking at the sun and looking at the potential challenges which we are facing as a continent, but working together as a continent to make sure that we deal with the issues of costly finance, work together to interconnect ourselves so that those who have can give those who do not have. And we have to ensure that each meeting, each program, each conference should come up with tangible results which will make a difference for the development of our nations. And we continue to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors who have been with us. I would like to quickly mention them. We have Zesa Holdings, Zera, the NOIC, National Oil Company of Zimbabwe, Petrotrade, Rural Electrification Fund, and Varun Beverages, and also want to thank our different exhibitors who represent the small and medium enterprise development community within the Victoria Falls, who are exhibiting here with us, together with the different sponsors. They are also exhibiting. We also have NASA, Varun Beverages, Finmark, Lamset. For those who didn't go down, I'm just mentioning these so that you are aware. We also have the joint SDG fund, which is working within UNESCO, UNDP, UN Women, and the United Nations Capital Development Fund Coordination Office, and the IDBZ, which is the Infrastructure Development Bank of Zimbabwe, Old Mutual Zimbabwe, and Zimnat Asset Management. We would also like to acknowledge our foreign exhibitors, Ecozen Solutions, all the way from India, Kakti Pumps India, Enlight Horizon Solutions. So we'd like to take this opportunity to pause here and hand over to the chair of the 8th committee to take up her position. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Edie. Distinguished delegates, good morning, and once again allow me to officially welcome you to the 8th meeting of this ISA Regional Committee meeting for the Africa Region Group. As we have been guided by our host, we will be starting our official program pending the President joining us in a couple of minutes. So without further ado, allow me to turn our attention to the proposed agenda. You would have seen that the ISA Secretariat has circulated a provisional agenda for this meeting as contained in the working documents that have been circulated to all participants. I would like to open up this agenda for adoption, and I request that if members have any comments that they do flag them for us to record before we proceed. Okay, I see no requests for the floor, so I thank you all. I now invite the committee to adopt this provisional agenda for the 8th meeting of the Regional Committee for the Africa region. It is so adopted. Okay, so we will move on now to agenda item 3, which pertains to the action taken report of the 7th meeting of the ISA Regional Committee for Africa region. The 7th meeting was held from the 2nd to the 4th of September 2025 in Accra, Ghana. And the working document that has been provided offers details of the actions that were undertaken by the ISA Secretariat in response to the recommendations and guidance of the committee at its 7th meeting. The report is placed before the committee for its consideration. I invite members of the committee to provide your comments to the report, if any. You do not have the documents? Could members of the Secretariat assist in providing agenda copies to the Honorable Ministers and Ambassador? On this side. So that would be the document referenced ISA/RCA 8. Working document 1A. So that's the full agenda that I'm making reference to. Whilst we sort the issue of agenda out, is there any comments from any of the delegations pertaining to the document on review, which is the report from the 7th meeting of the committee? Okay, it seems there are no comments, so in the absence of any further comments, we can proceed to the next agenda item. So please feel free, members, to either raise your flags or your hands if you wish to take the floor, and the Secretariat will assist. Okay. Moving along now to agenda item 4, which pertains to update and future plans for ISA pillars, platforms, initiatives, and activities in the African region. This item provides an opportunity for us to review the direction of ISA's engagements in Africa and the mechanisms through which the regional and country priorities can be translated into implementable programs and projects. The discussion will cover, I hear some feedback.
Those online or the translators, can you please mute yourself?
Because we won't speak from there.
Who? Can you please mute those who are connected online? Thank you.
Thank you. So as I was saying, the discussion of this agenda item will cover ISA's evolving pillars and platforms, including catalytic finance, country and regional engagements, capacity building and digitalization, technology roadmaps, strategic partnerships, and the activities that are being advanced across the Africa region. I now have the honor of inviting the Director General of ISA to deliver his presentation under this agenda item.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and a very good morning to all of you once again. I will talk for about 15 minutes, and of course, as we all know that we will break as soon as we hear from the State House of President's availability. And after I finish, I'll ask a regional program coordinator, Barakat, to speak for about 5 minutes. Let's start with where Africa is today. We all know that majority of Africa, almost 43 of almost 52 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, are energy importers. And in 2023, Africa spent 195 billion. That is when the oil price was around 80. This year, as the oil has often been above $100, we are looking at a lot more expenditure, maybe going up to at least $100 billion more. This is causing a huge fiscal stress to an already a very fiscally stressed continent. On top of it, food security has also become more of an issue. 90% of fertilizers are imported, of course also dependent. And when we look at access to electricity, we all know that almost 600 million Africans still do not have energy access, and energy is now more.
Excuse me?
Yes, please.
Would you please remove the map of Africa? There is a country that it doesn't exist. I'm talking about Western Sahara. I see the map is all Morocco. This is wrong.
Okay.
So please, would you please remove this map?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That part is well noted. The point that we are really trying to say is that 600 million people do not have access to electricity. And in terms of solar installations, there is a rapid increase. Almost 14 gigawatts of solar is still concentrated in South Africa and Egypt, whereas a lot more is happening. We want to talk about the opportunity. This is the real slide. I want you to spend a minute or two. Almost 25 countries that imported more than 100 megawatts this year is gone up. 25 is the number now, which was only 15. We are looking at South Africa that is importing a lot more. And just in the first 6 months or last 12 months, we are looking at 15 gigawatts. If you look at the graph on the left, the big realized potential that existed in Africa is now coming to fruition. Now, what is also a big emerging opportunity is on storage. You will hear a lot more. Storage, we believe, and we have been advising all the governments, must be done together with solar. No country should do solar without storage and transmission planning, but increasingly we are also advising countries to do storage along with the distribution grid, but also behind the meter, as you will see in our slides that some of the countries are doing almost 14 gigawatt hours of storage just along with solar home systems. Africa undoubtedly is the world's largest off-grid solar market, 91%, 9.26 million units just in 2025. And we believe the next big wave of opportunities will be on untapped potential across decentralized renewable energy, whether there are mini grids, productive use applications, and solar-powered agriculture. As you will see later today, we believe Africa must aspire to move from 22 gigawatts to almost 200 gigawatts in 5 years and almost a 1 terawatt by 2050, for which the enabling ecosystem, that will be the big discussion for next 1.5 days, are beginning to emerge. Why this is the right time to do that? I said it in my opening, but let me reiterate. For far too long, the program was fragmented. Different donors, different governments, different parts were doing different elements. But now there is a unified momentum behind Mission 300, where national compacts of governments are now driving a very clear program on policy, programs, and projects. As I mentioned, the political will to put energy at the heart is clearly there, and each country, each political leadership is completely behind the question of energy access and affordable, reliable energy, with almost all countries having solar as one of the main sources of their least cost generation plan. And why is that? Because the cost has come down. The competitive tenders in a lot of markets outside Africa, but some of them in Africa, is coming as low as 2 to 3 US cents without storage and 4 cents with storage. Now, in all African countries, these prices may not be realizable, but that gives you the potential of where we are looking at. And finally, it's all about enabling private sector. Africa is realizing that rather than waiting for a lot of concessional money solving the energy problem, it must be solved largely by private sector. Not only through IPPs of large projects, but also mini grids, where Nigeria is having 10,000 mini grids by private sector, solar home systems, and even solar pumps. All of them, the ecosystem can be enabled by private sector, the solar rooftop being the lowest hanging fruit that we will talk. How is ISAS now working on getting things done and moving from ambition to action? We are helping a lot of countries on energy transition planning. How does solar figure in your least cost roadmap? We are working with at least 3 African countries on digitization, because as you will do a lot of solar rooftop, your utilities will need a lot of digital support, right from smart metering to distribution renewable energy management systems to digital twins. We, for the first time, while not being a bank, are launching a catalytic finance activity today, which will allow private sector entrepreneurs to get equity support and risk mitigation for financing DRE in terms of solar in agriculture or doing a lot of mini grids and solar power home systems and rooftops. We believe a lot of small countries must aggregate procurement. And we have a platform called SIDS. We are very grateful. Mauritius will tell you later on that how a 400 megawatt large scale program is happening by aggregation and a consolidated strategy. We will like for 18 SIDS countries, 4 or 5 of them in Africa, to learn from each other of how you can do aggregated procurement to bring down the cost. On technology scale up, we are moving beyond pilots. In fact, I believe no country should do now pilots because the technology is proven. Whether you want to do solar pumps, whether you want to do rooftop solar, we will be working on both DRE last mile and solar agriculture. One of the defining value propositions for ISA is on building local capability. In my own experience across 30 countries, it's only when the capacity in countries to make policies, regulations, procurement, private sector ability to implement, and local financing and their maintenance comes, then the countries really go ahead. We have opened up Star Seas centers in 11 African countries, and we will be doing a lot of AI-based learning systems for democratization of knowledge. We have a country partnership strategy with more than 8 countries operational in Africa, in which we have set up local offices to implement across the value chain of solar. This is our global mandate. I'll not go into the detail. Some of it I have already mentioned before. I want to go into specifics that we are launching. The Africa Solar Facility is based on a global solar facility that ISA has set up in India, and we will be signing an agreement with Africa 50, which is co-owned by more than 34 governments in Africa, who will be the fund manager for investing in equity and de-risking products for private sector investments in DRE. And that's almost going to be a 200 million fund, for which the first financial close is about 71 million. This is an anchor capital, and all the governance and measures for actually hosting this facility have come to a conclusion. This was a promise we made you last year, and we are so glad Zimbabwe is becoming the place where this is being signed for launching it. Each country is unique in Africa, while you need to learn from each other. And I want to give an example, as I mentioned briefly, of Mauritius. In Mauritius, we have a 220 megawatt solar plus storage tender that the government has put for private sector IPPs, that is there on ISA's e-procurement website. They're also doing a floating solar project along with battery storage that is being done jointly with ISA. They are looking at agriculture PV of 80 megawatts. We are developing a state-of-the-art Star Sea training centers, and we are also looking at a solar rooftop program. All of this goes to show that in every country, different elements of the ecosystem need to be brought together, starting with policy, leading to clear programs and projects backed by local capability, financing, technical standards. That's our approach for country partnership programs. As you can see from this, ISA is graduating from doing small pilots of $30,000, $40,000 to big 200 megawatts, $500 million engagements with countries. On capability, we have 9 Star C centers. All of you are represented here. We are very honored that we will be launching the Zimbabwe in presence of Her Excellency First Lady tomorrow, and another one in Mauritius being under development. We also finance mid-career students from Africa to have masters in renewable energy at IIT Delhi. 90 of them have graduated and are taking middle management positions. We are starting a new master's program on train the trainers, because we want people to get trained and then train 100 other people. That's a new master's program beginning next week in again IIT Delhi, but also in Ines, France. And 10 representatives from 10 countries are taking that first cohort. But we are going beyond. In the world of AI, the training should be on everyone's smartphones. This is where, as you know, the young people get trained. So by our assembly, we will be launching at least 50 programs on an AI-enabled learning management system that we are calling ISA Academy. And this would be available in all languages, whether French, Portuguese, Swahili, and this will allow a lot of local people to get as much training on different elements of rooftop, on solar power pumps and basics and even maintenance. All of this will be pulled together in what we believe the time is right for Global South to create a Silicon Valley for solar, that we are calling Global Capability Center, that will also be launched in November, in which, in addition to ISA Academy, we will be launching a grid planning and management module, financial structuring to help different countries get finances, and also about utility aggregation for solar rooftop, that I will talk as a very key element. What this means is we want to curate standardized IT digitally enabled programs that can be taken to any country. And latest AI-based solutions on digital twins will be available to all the African countries, because rightfully so, while Africa lagged behind in energy access, it should not lag behind on digitization and AI. Very briefly, the big initiative is on combining food security and energy security. We believe, with India's experience of having done 3 million solar pumps in last 3 years, with another 5 million solar pumps planned for next 4 years, this is a great potential for sharing lessons and doing a big program in Africa. We are delighted that later today, in few hours, we will be signing a community of practice on solarization of agriculture, initially signed by the 7 countries mentioned, but eventually going beyond. And there, the ecosystem of how 1 million solar pumps can happen by having first the right policy regulation, but also looking at financing elements by which farmers can get some blended finance and risk mitigation, some form of a right sizing of the agriculture pump, and a digital e-market development through monitoring and resilience, and then building capability. Each Star C will have a solar pump to be trained, but also all the mechanics and the technicians will be trained on putting those pumps and maintaining them. So all of this is extremely important. I don't need to tell you the opportunity. Africa can be the food basket for the world, but is today, unfortunately, having $65 billion of food imports, and irrigation is one of the binding constraints, and diesel and large-scale irrigation are not feasible. Therefore, solar-powered pumps are one of the most important elements. We are working on financing solution, because one of the biggest questions for farmer is how to get money. There are different kind of models. We are working on countries and at the region on different models, whether it is a direct lending model to the farmer, in which the big problem in some countries has been on what kind of securitization beyond the solar pump the financial institutions demand, and that is a dialogue which is very important. In some countries like Ethiopia, we are asking for financial institutions to be fine with just having the pump as a collateral. We are looking at supplier anchored program where large suppliers on mass orders can pass on the benefit directly in their pricing, or in some countries farmer cooperatives are very strong, and can the lending mechanism be done through farmer cooperatives? Each of the solution will need to be tailored to countries, but this is a program that we are developing, and then we are very keen to work with countries on these solutions. I do want to mention that the lowest hanging fruit right now in Africa is solar rooftop. Why? One, it is the fastest way. If you decide today and you want 100 megawatts of solar power, in next 6 to 9 months, if you are based on diesel and HFO, you can replace to solar rooftop. It doesn't require land, it doesn't require new sites, no transmission networks that are often difficult and takes time, and it can help meet the peak demand in the day. And if you can have behind the meter storage, it can also meet the evening peak. And we are not the only ones. Look at the trend on the right. The solar rooftop installations in India, 5 million have already been done. 10 million will be done in next 2 years. Australia has done 14 gigawatt. I'm mentioning 8, it changes every 2 months. 14 gigawatt hours of behind the meter storage has happened in Australia in just 1 year. The biggest problem or the fear we hear is on utilities, on loss of revenue, and therefore they often don't allow solar rooftop. We have worked with at least 8 or 10 utilities on how utilities can gain and become a partner by benefiting for solar rooftop. This is a technology for which the time has come, and if utilities embrace digitization, they need not lose revenue and actually can monetize using the utility aggregator model. Watch out for this space. We believe this will grow up many, many fold in Africa, and we will be partnering with a lot of countries. Agri-PV is a new opportunity. What is Agri-PV? For land-constrained countries, if a farmer is growing certain kind of crops, especially related to vegetables, spices, then you can have agriculture photovoltaic over the farmland. And this allows food security and energy security to go hand in hand. We will be releasing a global report on different kind of temperate climate zones, arid, semi-arid, tropical, temperate, continental. What kind of crops need not have any drop in productivity of the crops? As you know, because of excess rain, if you put actually some shade, it's sometimes better for the crop. And we believe this will be a game changer because in some countries, this can actually meet most of the energy requirements. Let me again share a number from India. 1% of arable land in India, if put Agri-PV, can generate 1,000 gigawatt of solar. So we can do this assessment. Later in the day, we'll be launching an assessment we have done for Rwanda. I will just mention that we also have a big program on innovation. We launched SolarX in Africa. There are winners who are scaling up those programs. But we are also hearing circularity on solar PV and battery waste. We launched it in our assembly last year, and we are glad that 132 members, including 47 private sector companies, 25 research institutions, and startups are already part of it. Our estimate is this will be a multi-billion-dollar industry because you can get 98% of solar PV waste and battery waste recycled. And this will create a lot of jobs and a lot of revenue. So we request African countries who want to be members, including their private sector, to come. So that is my just summary. I will end by having 2 brief videos, one on some projects that we have just completed in Africa through the Quad initiative, and then a very small video inviting you all to the Bharat Renewable Summit, ISA Assembly, International Green Hydrogen Conference, and World Bank Storage Partnership, all being held together 2nd to 5th November in Delhi. May I request the video to be played?
Across Africa, solar energy is helping communities access essential services, strengthen livelihoods, and build greater resilience. From reliable water and healthcare to food preservation and local economic activity. With funding support from the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, under the Quad Climate Initiative, the International Solar Alliance, ISA, is implementing solar solutions across partner countries through the Project Implementation Agreement signed on November 26, 2024. From planning and technical expertise to on-ground implementation, ISA is helping bring reliable, clean energy to communities beyond the reach of conventional infrastructure, turning solar power into tangible improvements in everyday lives. In Comoros, solar is improving access to water and strengthening healthcare. At Shah Hahaye and Mitsamuje, 45 kilowatts peak of solar-powered water pumping systems are helping communities access a more reliable water supply. At Mutsamudu Hospital, a 72 kilowatt peak hybrid rooftop solar system supported by 154 kilowatt hours of battery storage is helping provide more reliable work for essential healthcare services. In Seychelles, solar is supporting water security, food preservation and healthcare across Mahé and Ladigue. 6 kilowatt peak solar water pumping systems are helping strengthen access to water, while 21 kilowatt peak of solar powered cold storage is helping preserve fresh produce, reduce losses and protect livelihoods. In Madagascar, solar is helping bring essential services closer to remote communities. Across Betoloho Fokontani, Andinga Dingana and Kafpa, 3 kilowatt peak solar water pumping systems are strengthening access to water. At Betoloho Fokontani, a 14 kilowatt peak solar powered cold storage facility with 10 metric tons capacity is helping preserve produce and livestock related supplies, supporting local livelihoods and reducing losses. Comoros, Seychelles and Madagascar, these interventions demonstrate the impact of practical solar solutions on the ground, helping communities access water, keep food fresh, power healthcare facilities and strengthen livelihoods. By combining finance, technical expertise and implementation support, ISA is helping turn solar energy into reliable services, stronger communities and more resilient livelihoods.
Yes, please go ahead. Play the video. Thank you very much. My only last message with all of you is that this cannot be done by each one of us in isolation. As one of the participants in the expo very rightly said, it's about partners, partners, partners. We are delighted that we are able to scale this through collaboration and leadership of individual countries, but we also have partnerships with World Bank, Africa 50, Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, lot of philanthropies, and this is something that we are committed to, and please have a word that Global South's ability to lead the charge is now. Thank you very much. I think we are still waiting, or we are ready?
We're still waiting.
Okay. Yes. So with your permission, Chair, can I ask my regional program head to just speak for 5 minutes? Please come.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, DG. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues. I think most of the things has been already covered by DG, but let me quickly capture some of the progress in few numbers where we have seen significant movement since last RCM. So at our last regional committee meeting in Ghana, we spoke extensively about how ISA could deepen its engagement in Africa and how we can move from ambition towards implementation. So this slide, give you the sense that Africa remains at the center of the ISCA mandate. We have 47 member countries represent the largest region among all the regions overall the world in ISA. So these just captured a few numbers of the progress has been made since the last RCM in Ghana. So we have signed 2 country partnership framework with Uganda and Rwanda. And later today and tomorrow we will be signing 3 country partnership framework with Senegal, Zimbabwe, and Seychelles. This will bring the number of the country partnership framework into 10 CBF. And also we have completed under the IPSA fund UNDP partnership 4 programs for solar pumps systems. And also, since last RCM, we have launched 3 Star C, Solar Application Resource Technology Center in Benin, Tanzania, and Uganda. And as mentioned in the DG presentation, under the Sunrise platform, we have 15 African countries are engaged. So this is the 10 countries that have signed the country partnership framework supported by National Support Unit in Ghana, Uganda, Senegal, Rwanda, and Mauritius. So this slide gives you the sense of how ISA is trying to bring different elements together to create the ecosystem. So last May, we had the high-level mission to Uganda where we brought together ministers and delegation from 6 countries around one common challenge was the solarization of agriculture. And in this mission, we have signed a country partnership framework. We have launched the Star C at Busetima University, and we have also took the delegation to visit the field where they can also learn from the people on the ground. Not only this, but also, so we created a pipeline of project, and also we started the community of practice that will be announced formally today later. So, Excellencies, as you know, project and partnership cannot sustain without building the capacity of the people at the country level. So, and as you've seen, Africa has taken the largest share of the 3 cohorts that ISA is doing for building the capacity, the Global Solar Fellows, where we have 15 fellows this year, 20% Africa share, and also the IT Delhi Fellowship Program, the share of Africa 50%, and the training of trainees also 10 candidates, 70% from Africa. These are the Quad project that has just seen the video in Comoros, Madagascar, and Seychelles. So these are numbers in the different countries, what has been achieved in terms of the programs and the initiatives. But since we are going to have a detailed ministerial discussion in the afternoon, I will not go in detail about these programs. But you can see what has been done since last year and moving really from ambition to the implementation. In Mauritius, 15 megawatt floating solar, 220 megawatt also now on the SIDS platform, 100,000 rooftop system ambition also, and in addition to the Star C and Digital Twin, in Ethiopia, 400 megawatt solar park, 300 pumps, and also the agriculture, the Gandhi Hospital, Star C, and more. In Rwanda, also 200 megawatt floating solar, 700 megawatt utility scale, 20,000 hectare for agriculture. We are working also with Rwanda to develop the scheme for solarizing of agriculture. In Ghana, what's really very impressive in Ghana, last year we had the pleasure to meet the Honorable President, and during the meeting, the Honorable President announced that we will go for 3,500 pumps, and immediately Now, 500 pumps has been already rolled out as a pilot phase onto how to scale to the 3,500 pumps. And so you can see how we are moving from ambition to action with the political support and the ownership from the highest level at the country level. Senegal also, we are working with Senegal also to develop a scheme for 2,000 or 3,000 solar pumps with the partnership with the World Bank. Digital MRV also platform we are developing. Star C is already there. Gambia also, we are working on Gambia to develop 100 megawatt solar utility scale and 600 women-led gardens. Also, we are working with Gambia to solarize the agriculture in addition to the fisheries also and capacity building. In Guinea, Nigeria, Malawi, we are doing a lot of assessment for solar mini grid and the rooftop. So let me also conclude by these slides, how ISA also supporting, facilitating the South-South collaboration. So last month we have also facilitated a visit for a delegation from Eswatini, where are they developing 70 megawatt utility scale and also agriculture. We have facilitated their engagement and learning from Indian experience. And so they have the opportunity to meet with different stakeholders to learn about the procurement, how India also has been successful to reach the lowest tariff, and also for the EBS contracts and also digitalization. This is how also ISA is trying also to facilitate this kind of South-South collaboration. So now I think there a lot of progress has been done. So the next step is to move from progress to scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you to both the DG and the ISA Secretariat for this very comprehensive update of all of the efforts that's been happening in Africa over the past year. I will open the floor to members on whether you have any comments or questions that you want to raise to the ISA team in regards to the presentations that have just been presented. No one brave enough to break the ice? Any questions? Everything was crystal clear. Okay, if there are no comments, I will then proceed with the next agenda item. Whilst we continue to wait, we have been able to make some progress on our schedule, so we hope that we can maintain this momentum. I will now invite the DG, who will take us through the items 5, 6, and 7, depending on how far we are able to get. So DG, over to you to take us through agenda item 5.
Thank you, Chair. I may speak from here now. So Excellencies, distinguished delegate, today marks an exciting milestone. For far too long, there have been too many reports talking about how solar is important for Africa and why solar is the real potential, but there has been no real framework that can guide the countries on step-by-step sequencing of how to realize that potential. And we believe that was the missing space, and for that we have worked with a lot of partners, as you will see, on making, both from continent and from global experts, on having a blueprint for what will it take to solarize Africa. I'm going to invite my colleague, Mrs. Namrata Mukherjee, to give a short presentation, after which we'll be releasing this report. Namrata, over to you.
Thank you, Director General. I'm going to request Madam Mataboge to give us a little keynote address before we can start with the presentation, if that's fine, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I had taken liberties at the beginning when I made my intervention, so I will shorten this one. to really emphasize that the priority for us as a continent, as the African Union, is as we deploy solar, as solarizing Africa, as it were, we need to ensure that we retain the industrial capacity and we strengthen the industrial capacity on the continent. So we need to begin to talk about the whole value chain of solarizing Africa. I think the DG mentioned earlier that if you're going to deploy solar, you need to have battery storage capacity, you need to have transmission capacity. So that becomes a priority for us as we have this conversation around how do we localize production of the actual technologies and equipment, how do we localize even the financing of the deployment, and how do we ensure that we also crowd in African skills and African participation in our own solarizing agenda. So it's quite important that the Alliance is enabling an accelerated transition into solar, but we do need to ensure that we keep keen focus on African localization and on ensuring that we reach our industrialization capabilities. So thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished delegates and partners, a very good morning to all of you. It is a true privilege today to present Solarizing Africa, Advancing the Continental Clean Energy Transition to all of you. In the next few minutes, approximately around 10 minutes, if I may take that much time, I'd like to not spend time on the report, but just to answer 3 questions. Why is this moment important for Africa to scale solar? What is preventing the scale up today? And most importantly, what we can do differently to move from ambition to implementation. With that, can I request the next slides, please? All right, I'll just take you through the thinking behind Solarizing Africa. When we started developing this report and started looking at a structure for it, we felt that the challenge is not with regard to the lack of strategies, reports, or individual initiatives. In fact, there are multiple programs right now already that are underway across the continent. The challenge that we felt is that for these efforts remain fragmented across countries, institutions, financing platforms, and sectors. So Solarizing Africa, therefore, was conceived differently. We wanted to create an implementation blueprint, which is grounded in proven African case studies, covering the entire pathway from policy to finance to deployment, identifying models that can be replicated, aligning with Mission 300 and the National Energy Compacts, and most importantly, answering who needs to do what and by when. We have developed this report in partnership with 3 leading organizations, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, the Energy Transitions Commission, and the Center for Economic Transition at the London School of Economics. Why this moment? Director General Isa already spoke about this moment, which is becoming critical for Africa. So I'll briefly touch upon 5 converging factors which are making this movement more real right now. Solar has become affordable and firm. We have seen that globally across the price trends. Demand is now visible. We are seeing 48 countries who have endorsed the Dar es Salaam Declaration, 35 national energy compacts that are carrying binding 2030 targets. The third factor is markets are already moving. We saw 18.8 gigawatts of solar panels which were imported in 2025, an uptick of close to 50% year-on-year increase in imports. The fourth factor is energy security is now becoming a treasury issue. We are seeing fuel imports which actually averaged around 23% of the total imports that the continent faced. And the fifth factor is the infrastructure is not yet locked in, which means that the infrastructure choices which will be made today, it will shape Africa for decades. What does this solar opportunity in Africa mean in terms of unlocking this opportunity? There are 3 key pillars: policy and regulatory certainty and the architecture around it. We've learned that less than 60% of African countries run a renewable energy auction or a tender program. Even fewer award contracts regularly. A second important enabler will be blended and de-risked finance. Right now, local currency is the risk. Technology is not the risk. In fact, this is the biggest unlock which needs to be done through innovative blended and de-risked financing mechanisms. And finally, the most important, political will and delivery institutions. Without this, every other reform will stall in interministerial coordination. So with this, Solarizing Africa was conceived with an objective of being a decision framework, a blueprint for heads of states, ministers, senior government officials. There are 4 questions that we're trying to answer across every solar opportunity. Firstly, why is the productive use case of solar necessary for the continent? Why is the deployment at scale not happening? So we're touching upon barriers. Then a third common thread is how are we addressing these barriers? What are the key enablers? And how are these actually grounded in real case studies happening right now in Africa? And finally, what actions need to be taken by stakeholders and by when? With this, there are 4 delivery pillars that have been covered in this flagship. The first is distributed renewable energy, where we see this as the main means for last mile access, mini-grids, standalone systems. The second pillar is solar for agriculture, which is centered around irrigation, cold chains, agri-food value chains. The third pillar is focused around solar-based e-mobility. We're seeing a rapid transition in the convergence between energy and transport, where there is a strong movement towards 2- and 3-wheelers charging fleet economics in favor of electric mobility. And the fourth pillar is around utility scale solar and One Grid Africa, where we're talking about gigawatt procurements and enabling regional interconnections. These 4 pillars cannot work in isolation. Hence, we are looking at 4 cross-cutting enablers. First is around digitalization of utilities. Second is capacity building and skills. Third is enabling financing ecosystems. And the fourth is around local manufacturing and value chains. What we've learned from this exercise is 5 imperatives which are emerging, which is across all these pillars. First is to put policy certainty before project development. Second, mobilize affordable finance at scale. Third, design for productive use and not only for connections. Fourth, modernize utilities and institutions. And fifth, scale proven African solutions through structured peer exchange. Sorry, I'll just move back. What this report is doing differently is basically it's mapping the 4 solar opportunity areas, which I just spoke about, across the 4 enabling pillars. For instance, in distributed solar, digital tools such as remote monitoring can improve viability. In agriculture, pump telemetry, digital payments can improve both productivity and financing. In e-mobility, telematics and smart charging can improve fleet economics. And for utility scale, revenue assurance and digital utility systems can strengthen the off-taker. So this is just an idea of how you can associate the enablers across the different pillars. What we're trying to move towards in this flagship is to nudge around the ambition of moving towards a 1 terawatt vision and ambition up to 2050, which will increase the current solar share from 3 to 4% to up to 40% as a part of generation. There is a pathway to be followed. We're looking at 20 gigawatts, 22 gigawatts right now, with a vision of moving up to 150 to 200 gigawatts by 2030, scaling up to 500 gigawatts by 2040, and then finally reaching 1 terawatt by 2050, when actually solar will become Africa's core electricity system, supported by storage grids and regional interconnection. This may seem utopian, but the evidence is already here, and the answers are all African. I won't read through this slide, but throughout the report, you will see many countries being featured in terms of successful case studies. We have Nigeria, for instance, which has a successful DARES program, which is the mini-grid scale-up program, which has led to multiple impact metrics, which you can see on the screen. Similarly, for Egypt, the utility scale solar projects have been successful because of bankable long-term PPAs and so on. And so these examples are actual real examples for all of you to look at when you look at this flagship. I'll end by just urging all of you to join this movement of Solarizing Africa together. There are some areas that we're going to start working on. For instance, you heard from the Honorable Director General that we are working on a community of practice model where one technology, many champions get featured. We will be launching the first community of solarization of agriculture, where there will be 7 founding members. Today at the RCM. Similarly, there's a potential for us to move into different communities of practice for the different solar opportunities which are of interest to member countries. Similarly, human capital will play a very critical role. So building technical capacity and cross-disciplinary skills and working with CPF countries to develop solar roadmaps. Mobilizing blended finance will be a very important ask that we are working and starting with the Africa Solar Facility. And finally, we feel data will play a very important role, and hence we will convert Solarizing Africa into a digital dashboard to track progress, identify bankable projects, and provide data-driven insights to help investors and member countries. Thank you so much. With this, can I ask the team to run the video, please, on Solarizing Africa?
Africa receives the best sunlight on Earth and the least electricity. We are told solar is expensive. Unreliable power already costs 2 to 4% of GDP every year. Not the price of solar, the price of waiting. So how much has Africa actually built? 22 gigawatts. 14 of them sit in 2 countries. 1/3 of the world's solar. The world put $521 billion into solar. Africa got 2%, and promised is not delivered. Of $9 billion for mini-grids, 14% arrived. Then 3 things changed. Solar prices fell 67%, battery prices fell 93%, and cheap became dependable, round the clock. The market did not wait for permission. Our other developing countries are already buying this. This was never about electricity. A pump, a cold room, a workshop open after dark, a clinic that never loses a patient to a power cut. There is no single Africa, so there is no single answer. Grid, mini-grid, rooftop. The difference is not the obstacle, it is the opportunity. The answers are already African. Nigeria scaled access. Egypt made contracts bankable. Kenya trained first. Zambia cut duties. Imports rose 8-fold. Ethiopia turned power into industry. It works. Here. 48 countries in Africa signed the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration. 35 published a compact. The targets are already yours. So what is still missing? Not sunlight. Not technology. Not even money. What is missing is the machinery. Policy that holds. Finance that arrives. Institutions that can procure, people who can build. In India, the first 50 gigawatts took 11 years. The next 50 took 14 months. Nothing changed but the machinery. This report does not end at the last page. It becomes a roadmap, a pipeline, a build site. Countries learning from each other instead of starting over. 1,000 gigawatts by 2050. 3% of Africa's power to 40. The sunlight is settled. The technology is settled. What remains is the part only you can do.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've now reached that segment of the session where we will be releasing Solarizing Africa. May I request our esteemed guests on the dais to kindly release the report. Thank you. Can I also request our partner organizations, RECRI, ETC, and SETEX to come up on the stage so that we can take a group picture? So we have Phoebe O'Hara, Soumya Malhotra, and Dr. Maged from our partner organizations joining us. Please. Thank you so much, everyone. May I now request dignitaries on the stage to please take their seats. We will be witnessing signing of the joint declaration between the International Solar Alliance and the Africa Union Commission, with signing being done by Her Excellency, Ms. Loreto Dorothy Mataboge, Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, Africa Union, and His Excellency, Mr. Ashish Khanna, Director General, ISA. There's a table, ma'am, on the end.
Thank you. We'd like to give a round of applause to the partners, African Union and ISA. We will soon be moving to State House Live, just in time. State House, we are ready to receive the feed. We will be going into the national anthem. I'll request all the people in this room to stand as we sing the national anthem. Once we are not yet, once the feed comes through. I just want to give you information in advance so that you don't get confused when the feed comes through. So we're just waiting for the feed. Thank you. May we be seated. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, Honorable Minister of Energy and Power Development, July Moyo, Honorable Minister of State for Matabeleland North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo, Her Excellency, the African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, Ms. Lorato Matabohe, Vice President of the International Solar Alliance for African Region, Honorable Minister May Jeremy, the Director General for the International Solar Alliance, Mr. Ashish Khanna, and also the Ambassador to India representing the presidency of the ISA, all ministers here present, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ride on the existing protocol and welcome our President, His Excellency, the President of Zimbabwe. My name, once again, I will introduce myself, is Gloria Magombo. I'm the Secretary for Energy. Initially, I was the Events Director, ED. I'm now changing to Master of Ceremony now that the real ED is here. Honorable Minister, I would like to call you to the podium to introduce His Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you, Permanent Secretary, ED with the small capital letters. Your Excellency, we salute the members who have come to Zimbabwe invited by International Solar Alliance. In this room, you have over 100 visitors from outside Zimbabwe who you are receiving this morning. Who you are receiving, as our Permanent Secretary has already indicated, ministers, deputy ministers, permanent secretaries. You are receiving members of the Diplomatic Corps, as well as receiving Zimbabweans who have come to attend this important gathering led by the Director General Ashish Khanna from India. And we are very glad, Your Excellency, that the government of India, where the chairmanship of this organization is now headquartered, is sending the ambassador to represent the minister who should have been here. But we are also very happy that the Vice President of the International Solar Alliance, who is the Minister of Energy and has many portfolios, natural resources and other portfolios in the Republic of Seychelles, is here to chair us. And I'm also very happy, Your Excellency, that the AU has sent the commissioner who is responsible for energy. She is with us and is sitting here at the podium. Ladies and gentlemen in this room, I want you to welcome our president. Our president is leading a country that is coming out of very difficult circumstances. He has been able to solve the issues of food security, and we are one of the few countries that are food secure, including wheat production, second only to one country, and that needs power. He is also leading this country out of industrial problems, and we now have a lot of industries, value addition, that is coming out of mining, that is coming out of agriculture, that is coming out of the natural resources of this country, and that also needs an enabler, and that enabler is power. This, our president, is leading us from problems that have existed for the last 30 years in the financial sector, and our currency is now very stable, ready to receive investors since our president announced that Zimbabwe is open for business. So join me in welcoming the president to address you and to welcome you to Zimbabwe. As I said this morning, I'm not welcoming anybody because the president will do so. Your Excellency, sir.
Let's all stand whilst His Excellency takes his podium. No, he's moving to the podium.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
The Director of Ceremonies, the Vice President, General Retired Dr. C.G.D. Chuenga, Vice President, Colonel Retired Dr. Mahadi, National Chairman of ZANPF, and the Minister of Defense, Honorable Zedin Kashiri, the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Mataweleland, North Province, Honorable Aaron Moyo, Minister of Energy and Power Development, July Moyo, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers who are here, African Union Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy, Her Excellency Lerato Mataboche, President of the International Solar Alliance Union, Minister of Power and Renewable Energy of India, Mr. Joshi, Director General and the leadership of the International Solar Alliance, Mr. Tama, United Nations Resident Coordinator, Zimbabwe, Kalapura Hao, the Chief Executive Officer of Sustainable Energy for all and the Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General, Ms. Ogubi. Your Excellencies, heads of delegations, distinguished representatives of member states, academia, development partners and financial institutions, captains of industry and commerce, comrades and friends. On behalf of government and the people of Zimbabwe, and indeed on my own behalf, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Zimbabwe, and in particular to the resort tourist field of Victoria Falls, Mbosio for the 8th meeting of International Solar Alliance Regional Committee for Africa. At the outset, I convey my warm greetings to His Excellency Prime Minister Modi of India and His Excellency the President of France, Mr. Emmanuel Macron. We commend and acknowledge their ongoing commitment to strengthen the respective partnerships of India and France with Africa in relation to solar energy as well as other facets of development. The matter is humbled by the opportunity to host this important meeting of the International Solar Alliance. This attests to the confidence which the international community has in our country. It further affirms our shared commitment to cooperation in advancing Africa's critical role in the current global energy transition agenda. The International Solar Alliance provides us an opportunity to strengthen Africa's economic integration, share experiences, build capacity, develop projects, promote technologies, and mobilize investments. Outcomes and recommendations from this forum should proffer practical solutions to translate Africa's solar energy potential into wealth and an overall improved quality of life for our people. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are meeting at a critical time where global energy systems are undergoing transformation, driven by government commitments and rapid technological advancements. This shift is characterized by the adoption of clean energy solutions, supported by technology cost reductions for enhanced energy efficiency. Our African continent, which possesses some of the world's richest resources, must industrialize, modernize, and scale up access to essential services. To this end, the rural natural resources, the rich natural resources, including solar, must be viewed as instruments of economic transformation and prosperity. In this context, access to reliable energy remains fundamental to Africa's development, as outlined in the Africa Union Agenda 2063. Given its consistent availability, solar energy offers a major opportunity to strengthen energy security and support rapid socio-economic development. The time to convert Africa's enormous solar potential into projects that will deliver measurable development outcomes is now. I call upon us to deliberately set out sound policies, effective institutions, appropriate technical standards, transparent procurement systems, and reliable electricity infrastructure to realize this objective. As an alliance, we have a duty to facilitate investment by deploying the necessary technology and financial resources towards implementing projects at a larger scale. We must deliberately leap forward the modernization and industrialization agenda of our countries. To this end, financing solar energy transition must be designed around Africa's realities, particularly to enable food security and sovereignty, employment creation, as well as climate resilience, among other key priority areas. Admittedly, the scale of investment required for power generation, transmission, and distribution, coupled with the establishment of many grids, off-grid systems, and the storage facilities cannot be met by public resources alone. Hence, stronger partnerships among governments, development finance institutions, investors, and the private sector must be forged and ensured. On its part, Zimbabwe will continue to create an enabling business operating environment and welcome innovative financing models. Under the ongoing energy revolution, independent power producers and the private sector stakeholders in mining and in manufacturing, among other sectors, are being enabled to develop energy solutions while contributing to our national energy mix. The International Solar Alliance is challenged to provide timely assistance to member states with regards to the development of standardized approaches and connect viable projects to appropriate financing. In doing so, greater leverage should be deployed around regional and community financing platforms, particularly where projects can benefit from regional electricity markets and the shared infrastructure. Meanwhile, Africa's energy transition must be just and inclusive, leaving no one or no place behind. We all have a responsibility to empower the women and young people of our continent as the central participants in the ongoing transition, as well as entrepreneurs, technicians, engineers, researchers, and inventors. I exhort us to strengthen the capacity to manufacture, to adapt, install, operate, and maintain closer technologies, solar technologies. This entails necessary technical and vocational education. In this regard,